This is killer. Oh, no, 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 no.
Hello, and welcome to the Saturday live stream with RetroBlasting and
stuff
and everything with movies and candy.
Yeah, everybody, welcome to the Saturday live stream. We are going to talk about lost cuts today.
Snip, snip.
At first, we thought, well, my original idea for this would be, we're going to talk about cuts that have never made it out of the vault. And then I realized that's going to be a very limited discussion at this point because Blu-ray and DVD have brought a lot of those things out of the vault.
We hope.
We hope. Hope. So what I thought I would do is just kind of kick this off by talking about just some of the various famous director's cuts and or alternate cuts that everybody's familiar with. So obviously these are always in circulation and have been since the era of Laserdisc. So for example, James Cameron's cuts of every movie he's ever done. He has director's cuts of Terminator 2, Aliens, The Abyss. For those of you who aren't aware,
are those really director's cuts or are they just remakes?
Because
it's like totally different.
It's called special. He calls them his special editions of those films. So for example, in Aliens, he has more footage of Ripley getting to know Hicks. He has more footage of yes. Oh, sorry, we already have super chats.
Well, of course.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Matt Movies says, "Hey, RB crew, first time catching the stream live in a bit. I really hope one day we can see the cut of Rogue One that original teaser promised us. Also, fantastic work on the Kathleen Kennedy video."
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So, for those of you that don't know, Matt Movies 611 is a great movie review YouTube channel that I subscribe to. I appreciate you being here today, Matt. There is a video that's going to be premiering, going wide on YouTube.
So excited.
Tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, about 2 hours after the stream ends, and it's our latest feature, and it's called Kathleen's Fire Hose of Fun.
I'm just going to hang around and watch the hate.
It's not just going to be 5 minutes of hate.
No. It's going to be quite a long path of pain.
It's a video that is about all of the past 5 years of Lucasfilm decision making and how it got us to where we are, and what the fan community's role in all this has been, and what the fans need to be looking for and could do in the future if things get worse.
This one took us.
Tim Ward says, "I'm planning on a late night."
Tim Ward, you are a soldier, my friend. If there is one person, like let's say if we all ran track, I'd be like the pole vaulter. You'd be the shot put guy.
Me
with throwing the discus. But Tim Ward would be that long distance runner, just lapping that track, just steady and steady.
That's true.
So
that's a good point.
Telling you. So
I wouldn't be the shot put guy very long because I'd throw it at the umpire or the ref or whatever.
Scott says, "I cannot imagine the amount of narcotics that made someone think Star Trek: The Motionless Picture needed even more footage added to it."
Well,
now.
I love that one.
That's my favorite one.
Now,
I love
it too.
I was not a huge fan of the motion picture until the director's cut.
Yes.
And then when I saw the director's cut, I was like, oh, it's watchable now. But I actually,
to be fair, that's the only one I ever watched. So.
Yeah.
Although some of the sound choices that were made were not great.
Oh, really?
Like the Red Alert sound.
Oh, that's right. They changed that.
They changed it, and it's pretty horrible. I will give you that part, but the rest of it, actually being able to see V'ger, the actual ship instead of just pieces of it and swaths of it, was much nicer. And
I liked them correcting some of those terrible last minute matte paintings.
Yes.
Where the saucer is all warpy, and it's that kind of stuff. And it's a shame that they mastered that in standard def, because now that's why that version is not on high def. And so this is really one of the lost cuts at this point.
And when you first put that disc in and it plays
Mhm.
the main chorus before you see anything with a starfield moving, I was like, is it broken? But then I was like, this is amazing, you know. And then by the time I got to the menu, I was like, that was awesome.
It's funny to me, like that so many times, like if you're watching something on streaming, which is how most people watch everything now, that they don't really tell you which version of a film it is, and like you just kind of have to guess. But and a lot of like the muggles that I know that I would work with, they have no idea about all these different cuts and versions, and they don't get what, like they don't really care.
Or why?
And the thing about like different cuts and different versions of movies is that you won't care until you do. Until it's a movie where they like that you're used to it, and it's a movie that you've seen a bunch of times, and then you start watching it one day and you're like, well, that's not right. There's a whole scene missing. And it's not like you're watching it on TBS where they just cut it for time or content or whatever. It's like,
well, and you guys don't even watch a lot of TV, but what's interesting, and the audience may mention, recently networks are making their own movie edits to now shorten movies even further, so they can stick more commercials in there, or they're speeding up and slowing down sections.
Because Aaron and I were going to do a Dreamland about this, where it was going to be about all these different like versions of films, and there was this whole like urban legend, which as far as I can tell is an urban legend, that Blockbuster Video used to censor and edit its like the videos. Like there's this myth.
I mean, it's
that's
not
out
a
there.
stretch considering what Disney does now.
Well, it's a little bit more difficult for them to do that though, because
it makes sense to ignore it, because I mean, you're talking about 1 million videotapes. In the day,
versus like it's on streaming and they have to only edit their one source for whatever reasons. So,
I love those urban myths. Gotta love them.
Yeah, I can't really seem to find a lot of information, and I didn't, since we didn't do that podcast, I don't know that, like, I can't definitively prove it, but it just doesn't really seem like it would be worth the expense wouldn't be worth the payoff, if that makes sense. Like, there's not a lot of reason for them to do that. Unlike something like Disney or, you know, CBS or whatever, they have all kinds of reasons for cutting various things.
Well, according to them, they have reasons. I don't know if I
would consider it's all reasons. About the money.
I don't know. Some of them are really weird.
Yes. No, I agree.
Ben, like Lilo and Stitch.
Ben Dowdy just says lunch.
Well, thanks, Ben. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Always comes in handy. We had Chinese today.
Yes.
Very good Chinese.
Robert says the Thomas Jane Punisher movie was an okay film. The director's cut did a good job correcting the bad editing of the movie.
Excuse me. Yeah, I was just reading that. Why am I coughing all of a sudden? I was just reading that.
All that smoking.
The Ben Affleck Daredevil actually has a superior director's cut as well, which I never would have thought to revisit that movie because it's Daredevil from 2003.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but they say it's actually a much better version of the film.
Some of these I haven't. Well, like the majority of them, I've seen both versions with varying degrees of like and hate. But there's some that I haven't. That's one of those. I've not seen that edition of it. So, but I heard the same thing, that was supposed to be much better. So,
right. Now, tell me, both of you, is there a movie out there where you've only seen the director's cut and you've never seen the original or various other versions of it?
Yes.
Okay.
The Professional.
Ah, so you've only ever seen Leon the Professional.
Leon the Professional. I've never seen the Americanized theatrical release because I didn't watch it till years after it released.
Right.
So,
okay.
And I didn't even know actually at the time until you, when you called it Leon the Professional, I said, yeah, but for some reason, why does everybody here call it The Professional? And you explained to me, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, for me, the only thing I can really think of is the whole legend thing, which isn't exactly the same question, but it's the closest I have.
You've only seen the theatrical version.
I've only seen the theatrical US version as opposed to the European cut. That's got the, I guess it's the director's cut. That's got the original.
It's called the international.
It's cut. It's got the score, the original score, not the Tangerine Dream score, but that is. And there's nothing against the score because I mean, it's perfectly fine. It's just that when you're I've seen that movie so many times.
Well, the music's so powerful.
And it's so much, the music is so much of a part of it to me. And like there are scenes that are cut differently also in that, and it's longer. So I keep meaning to sit down and watch it. But like the first time I tried to sit down and watch it, I was like,
I'll watch it with you because I don't think I've seen that.
It literally feels like I'm listening to like Operation Mindcrime out of order. And I'm like, that's not the right song that goes after that. Like, no.
Well,
like,
some movies just, the music makes the movies. I mean, Flash, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If it wasn't for the music, I don't think anybody would watch that movie.
Flash Gordon.
Yes.
Yeah, but Flash Gordon at least has a locked cut. Like, I don't know of.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. Whereas, let's take Dune.
There's several.
We got some super chats
okay.
though, before you go into Dune, because we definitely want to. Prime Syndicate says $5 just because Tim looks happy and less stressed. Hope life is on the up and up, champ.
Thank you. Let's hope so.
Michael Hinkson says, good morning, RetroBlasting from beautiful Reno. My favorite extended cut movie is Terminator 2. The added scenes made a lot more sense, especially in the climax of the movie.
Now, I can't recall, is the new 4K of Terminator 2, does it include the extended cut?
I haven't seen the 4K yet.
I'm going to go
read. I'm going to buy it. I just haven't bought it yet.
I got to go see. Curiosity's gotten the better of me.
This is one of Michael. This particular piece is more of a passion of Michael in some ways than his toys.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he does collect film just as much as he collects.
Trust me. If you, do you even know how many total DVDs you have?
Blu-rays, 4Ks.
I mean, all of them together. Would you even gander a guess how many discs of movies you have?
It's hard to say. I know I have at least 1,000, if not more than that.
I mean, he's got an extensive collection down here of his Blu-rays and 4Ks. Then there's almost a whole room upstairs dedicated to just DVDs.
It says it has 3 different versions of the film. So,
okay.
Well,
that'll be a good purchase then.
Yeah.
Jody says, on behalf of J1972, Blockbuster didn't make their own cuts, but they strong-armed studios into providing cut versions for them.
Ah, okay.
That I believe.
Nice. Especially from the 70s.
But I mean, I just don't think that Blockbuster would have had the ability. But to your point, going back to like Netflix, for example, editing some of these films, you know, at this point, you have people like at Disney and Marvel who are corporate shills who are like getting involved in filmmaking who really shouldn't be involved in an artistic process because they have zero artistic abilities and they're just like corporate man, accounting man. Like they don't have any creativity at all. But those are not the people who should be like making decisions about censoring art, changing art, creating art, because they don't have the soft touch and the eye for doing it that it takes.
Well, this goes back to one that's sitting in front of Tim here, which is the television cut of Superman the movie, which was officially released on Blu-ray. And I know that the sticklers for the television cut are like, well, it's not exactly, because the prints they found in the vault were close, like because they sold them to different markets with slightly different. So I don't want to get into that.
There's one out there somewhere.
Yeah.
That'll be found in like 10 years.
Yeah, there's one. They say that there's like one little moment missing from this or whatever. But the point is that this is 99% the ABC Saturday Night Movie Superman version. And
that leads really perfectly into Shane's comment.
Okay, well, go. Do you want? Okay,
but go ahead.
So my point is that at the time, because we didn't have DVD, we had some VHS, but very few people had VCRs. The producers and ABC, or was it CBS, whichever network it was, they got together and said, hey, the more commercial breaks we have, the more money we all make.
Right.
And so the producers were like, really? And they said, because we've got a lot of footage from this movie that's not in the final film. And so they made this like 3-hour long Superman movie that was spread out.
I thought you were pointing at Dune.
No.
It's called the Snyder Cut, right?
No. It was spread out over two nights or whatever it was. And that's why this extended cut exists, is because of mercenary opportunism. But
that's called the Snyder Cut, right?
But the funniest part was, up until like 18 months ago, this version was only available by bootlegs on VHS. It was only being traded around, and that was the only way to see a lot of these sequences, and a lot of the sequences are useless. Like it's just people walking an extra 10 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
But
walking up a stairwell.
But Warner Brothers, miracle of miracles, they found the inner positive of this cut or whatever it was,
Still on film,
widescreen, everything, and they said, well, let's run this off on Blu-ray. And
so, question: if somebody's been to film school, because they would have had to have that on film in order to get that onto DVD properly. I know there's a lot of technology out there to do it other ways, but so was it common practice for editing crews on movie studios and then on networks for them making their own negatives and their own versions of it? I mean, was that a common practice? Because it's not something you hear a lot about these days.
My understanding is that would have been what's called like a telecine process, where they take the celluloid and they convert it or copy it to videotape through a process, kind of like.
But how would they do that? And the producer and the directors and the studios weren't just going.
Well, they had a deal. It must have been a contractual deal saying, we want this broadcast. You get the broadcast rights. Therefore, we'll work with you to get a.
Gotcha.
We're going to burn through several quick super chats.
Yes, sorry.
Number one, I'm going to go back and read this because Shane and Heather, it says, with some movies, you get so used to watching the TV version that when you forget all the things that are different until you watch the same unedited movie on DVD or a movie channel.
Right. And it's startling.
And then you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen the actual version of this movie in such a long time. Wolfie had said, open the blast doors. My dad swears that was in a theatrical cut from 1977.
Oh, I know what he's saying. Open the blast doors is there. It's the close the blast doors line that's not. So in the original Star Wars version,
in the Death Star,
before the special edition, Han shoots at them and then jumps through the little diamond, and then it closes, and they run up and they say, "Open the blast doors! Open the blast doors!" In the special edition from 97 forward, they add a line with the troopers where it's a shot that's in the original, but the troopers are running, and they add a line over it where he says, "Close the blast doors," to make it funnier. And it's like, you didn't really need that. So yeah.
You mean Han shot first?
KB says Aaron got axed. Sad.
No, Aaron has not been axed, but his wife got the vaccination, and I know she's feeling a little under the weather after the vaccination. He's at home taking care of them and his girls for her. So he is doing the right thing a husband should do, is take care of his wife when she's feeling bad.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Husbandry.
I have a comment. I'm going to leave it to myself. We're not in the after show, so I can't say it.
Oh, I got some stuff I'm going to say today.
Oh, the after show is going to be quite entertaining.
It's going to be lit. Anyway, moving right along.
Michael's going to be at the keyboard because me and Melinda.
Michael's going to be like, I'm just going to.
I didn't do nothing. I don't know what they're about to.
Oh, you going to learn. It's not about you. Wicked Person says, I thought I was looking at Crocodile Dundee 3 there for a moment.
So
good eye.
Good eye, Wicked. So the deal with this is Crocodile Dundee, the first one. This is a 2 DVD set from Australia. The very first Crocodile Dundee in Australia has a cut that's about you said it's 15 minutes of difference, but an overall runtime of 3 to 5 minutes longer. Some of that 10 to 15 minutes is alternate takes and things like that within.
From my memory now.
Yeah.
My memory is
it's easily
not great.
It's easily 5 minutes longer, something like that, even if the stuff inside is the same. But point is, it is a very Australian version of the movie that apparently has a lot of,
which makes it better.
Which here's the sad part about it. It's a better version of the film, or a more interesting version of the film, but it was never shown outside of Australia. And then, as they've started to do with these movie studios now, it was put out in Australia on DVD because that's the way the Australian audience remembers the movie. Well, when the Blu-ray format came out, Paramount and many studios like them have decided to save money by just putting out the US theatrical editions everywhere. So the only way to get the Australian cut is to get the old 20th anniversary
Get
DVD.
a region free player.
Yes. More
It's
expensive.
worth the investment.
This disc is out of print. And a similar situation happened with the 5th Rambo film, where the Australia version on Blu-ray was the international cut. But the 4K disc that came out in Australia was the US theatrical cut. So this whole thing can be a mess.
I like
Muggles.
this comment from Prime Syndicate. He says, I love TV edits for language. Big Lebowski is the best. Do you know what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps? This is what happens, Larry. Yeah, those are really fun. Like, especially ones that are like Big Lebowski or Lethal Weapon is one I've seen a
could do an
bazillion times.
entire show
Just
of bad edits.
Like the types of things that they put over, like there are like specific ones that certain channels love to use over specific curse words.
Oh, I love when they're like bull spit.
Yeah.
You know, and you can clearly
Just
the lips and the sounds don't.
it's super great.
hilarious.
It's super great.
Getting
It's
back though to your question about how they convert and what the for television and all that stuff, I suspect that's why the television 4-hour cut of Dune has never been brought out on high def, because I bet you it only exists as a broadcast videotape.
It has
master.
to, because
well,
they did the
Aaron
same
talks
thing.
about that, like that he's got that whole story about his grandmother recording VHS like off TV stuff for them to watch during the summer when they came to visit.
And
Dune was one of them, and it was a very now it's a very difficult to find cut,
It
but
is. You
it's the
can't get it on
one that
DVD.
he
You
saw
have it.
over and over and over.
I have the problem is there's so many cuts of this version of Dune.
Well, right, and that's what he's saying, but it's
yeah.
like really hard to find the version that he grew up with.
Yeah, it's almost impossible.
And so, and I don't even think he still has that tape, but that's the one that he saw. And so, like, that's got to be maddening, because you get used to a movie being in a certain order and a certain way, and then certain parts of it being gone. Like, it makes you feel like you're kind of losing your mind.
And it was the same thing for me. I had saw Dune in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, and then it was literally when I became an adult, I guess you could say, was working a real job. And I worked nights. And so on my days off, I would end up staying up all night long. And on CBS, and this was early 90s, 93 maybe, from 1 to like 3, they played Dune first act, and then the very next night they played Dune second act. And it was like 4 hours or more long, and it put all that extra stuff in there, like you said.
But it felt like 8.
And it was so great. And I was like, man, I don't remember this movie being this good. It made me then go read all of the books again and read all the new stuff, which me and Aaron can argue I like the new stuff. Surprise, surprise. But on DVD, it's infuriating that I can't find that cut.
Well, because it's on a bonus disc on the Steelbook DVD.
Yes, but it's not in the movie.
Well, it is. It's the alternate cut as a bonus disc.
But it's not everything.
Oh, it's not everything.
It's not everything.
Okay.
I have that, and it's not everything.
I got things.
Sorry.
Scott says, for a really jaw-dropping example of extended cuts, we don't need Spielberg's 1941. Oh, for a really jaw-dropping example of extended cuts we don't need, Spielberg's 1941 is now on Amazon Prime. It's a far cry from Return of the King. I don't even know why. Loom says The Thing prequel has a practical effects version buried.
Really?
Oh, I heard
the new one.
I watched the new one. It was very interesting. I'm not sure I liked it.
But I've heard that there is a completely alternate cut where the effects aren't digital. They're like actually like the original.
How would you ever do a fully practical effects version and then not air it? Because
that is really weird.
I bet you they see it as a cost benefit analysis, and they're just like, well, we don't really think it
would make sense though, because it definitely was not as shocking as the original.
Exactly.
By any means.
Prime Syndicate says, forgive my Aussie ignorance. Is there a director's cut of Crocodile Dundee, or was it just edited for America?
Yes.
It was edited for America.
It was edited for America, but
it was the main release of the film.
But the Aussie version is hard to get if you don't have the 20th anniversary DVD.
Yeah.
Which is out of print.
There were the changes are, to be honest, the changes are very, very minimal. There's like a different like editing pacing and style at the very beginning where the helicopter is like flying in and she's arriving in Australia, and then there's like some scenes with the bar like at the beginning. Of course, it's all front loaded stuff because it's all the stuff that happens while they're still in Australia at the bar, and then some of it's just different editing, pacing type stuff that you, unless you're a huge fan of the movie or you're just really interested in versions like we are, it may not be worth the time and effort to seek it out. But if you're a big fan of the movie, then I would suggest trying to find that 20th anniversary disc. I've got a whole bunch. Just
because we just.
I'm just saying, Jody.
Opening up a Pandora's box.
Jody says, "What's the origin of director's cut? Do so many directors not agree with the final cut? And what editor producer decided to cut out, or is it just a method of re-releasing a movie to get more money from sales?"
We could make a whole show about this.
So it can be either one of those things. Like there are truly situations where movie studios get mad at a director and for a variety of different reasons, and they take the reins away from him or her, and they completely change the movie, and you've got corporate people, or they even sometimes bring in a different director, like the whole situation with the Snyder Cut with Joss Whedon. They brought in Joss Whedon to kind of fix it up and make it align more with their corporate goals or their corporate budgets or their whatever.
The word cloud doesn't look the way we want it to.
Island of Dr. Moreau.
There's a lot of, and this goes back to like even like Orson Welles. This stuff happened to the original. Like this isn't new. This has been happening throughout
cinema history.
And so you have,
we just now are capturing it though,
directors who really are very opinionated and who won't they're like, no, this is going to take as long as it takes. Movie studios will sometimes like pull their weight and just go, you know what, you're fired. We're going to finish this off quickly and cheaply with somebody else. We're going to use what we got and we're going to call it a day because we need to get our return on investment now.
Aliens 3.
Yeah.
I mean, but there are sometimes, like, I would argue the Snyder Cut is a definite example of a studio looking at the situation of like, we can't make another big budget movie this year because of COVID. We have this movie in the can that the fans been pissed off about for X amount of time. Why don't we just kind of like film some quick and easy reshoots, do a ton of digital work, which can be done remotely, sink a whole bunch more money in so it's a new movie, and then re-release the same basic movie that we have from before and make all that money again. Like, to me, that's just a basic like numbers game, right? Like if you're a scam artist who's like, find the Red Queen, you know what I mean? Like that's what they're basically doing. And I mean, we
found this new piece of film on the floor in a studio that burnt down 32 years ago. It adds 3 minutes to Superman. Now, it doesn't have any sound.
It's the original. Color, it's the alien autopsy video. It's the original one.
But it was the director's intent.
Anyway.
So we're going to put it in a new box for $39.99 and sell it on
Here's
Amazon.
The thing. Regardless of the studio's intent, either way, there are going to be people who like the different version.
Yes.
And that's not to say you don't really like it or you shouldn't really like it. It's just to say, to be aware that sometimes studios do try to like make their money twice. Why wouldn't they? They will definitely do that. Like the Superman Donner cut on TV. Hey, we can get double the ad revenue. Let's make it longer and put it in a bunch of trash that we don't need. Let's do like weird like cuts and takes of like scenes that didn't work. And we're
going to do that at RetroBlasting. We're going to have the Michael cut happen at some point.
Oh my God.
One video.
We really want, and like it'll have every outtake in the final cut of you like getting your line wrong like over and over. That's what I'm waiting on. We do have some
wonderful footage of Michael that I intend to release one day.
Heavily bleeped.
Yes, heavily bleeped, which is it's sometimes hard for me being behind the camera. And I know Melinda's got this where Michael will do something that's so funny and we're trying not to laugh, but we're crying because if we laugh, then he's getting mad at us. He's like, stop breaking my concentration.
I wasn't like that on this past shoot.
No, you were not at all, but I'm just saying it's still funny.
Michael Hinkson says Star Trek II, the ABC Sunday night movie edit, is so much better than the original.
And some of that made it into the director's cut, although I understand why they cut Scotty's nephew. He was not a good actor. The only good acting he delivered was on his deathbed.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. He was terrible in that scene.
He was definitely not. There was no need to have him.
That part where
that
part where he first meets him in the engineering section is terrible acting. I'm like, no wonder they cut right past this.
Oh well.
No,
what did
sir.
that kid do?
Well, if someone says that, then he's no better than a Tiberian bat. And I'm like, this is terrible. Like,
what movie are you talking about?
Star Trek II's director's cut. The
Wrath of Khan.
The Wrath of Khan. I cannot stand the director's cut of Wrath of Khan.
Okay, I'm going to move on. Connor says, "Can you please use this to give Aaron's wife some chalks with best wishes from the chat crew?"
Oh, nice!
Wow.
Thank you very much.
I will.
We
pass
will
that
reach out to him and let him know.
Or I'll just no. I'm just kidding.
I'm going to text him right now.
Space Monkey Mafia says, "Which version of Blade Runner do you consider definitive or superior?"
Well, I like the final cut. I think the final cut is the right way to do because here's the thing. Like Star Trek the Motion Picture, Blade Runner was a film that was under the gun in terms of its shooting schedule. And so in many ways, Ridley Scott in that particular production didn't really have time to finesse certain things. And so the movie kind of came out literally unfinished. Same with Motion Picture. The picture was literally taken from their hands and put in cans wet before Robert Wise could finish the movie. And that sucks. I wasn't as big a fan of some of the like work prints and everything like that surfaced over the decades of Blade Runner. I didn't hate them, but they felt like work prints. Kind of like Superman 2, the Donner cut doesn't feel like a finished movie. It's just a what if kind of thing. It's not really a watchable because it's not finished. So I like the final cut, and I think that's the best way to do what we used to call a special edition. In other words, we're fixing what was broken or never finished. We're not touching anything that was already locked. We're not adding anything. We're just polishing the movie and making it a finished product. And I think Blade Runner Final Cut is excellent.
It's beautiful. That's
for
sure.
I just wish that. So I work in a very heavily controlled and regulated field in my day job. And any document that becomes a final document has a version control number and date. And any alteration to that has to be version changed and version dated and signed off and approved and whatever. And I'm just
that sounds very orderly.
I'm saying that like it would be really helpful if that was like required for film changes as well. So that if it's like version 7.3, like there were minor changes, but they weren't major. So it's just like the 0.3, but it's like the version 7. And so I like all the version 7s of that movie. And then every time I buy it or watch it, that says what version it is. And then I know
that's not a bad idea.
Not to spend my money on an Amazon movie, for example, that's version 3 of a movie when I know I hate version 3 and I only like version 1.
But they want you to spend the money, so they're never going to do that.
They rely on you being uninformed, which is where they want to keep you, and them having all the power. But yes. I'm just saying, like, that would empower all of us to know, like what you like, but then you know what you're getting. Like
they prey on the consumer's complacency.
That's right.
I'll tell you right now, they're right. Because most consumers fall into a lull of complacency. I actually had a guy like last year in a comments thread somewhere say, I can't remember. I'm talking to my friends. Jabba the Hutt wasn't in the original Star Wars cut. I'm just having a, and I'm like, how old are you? And he goes, I'm your age. I'm 42. And I went, okay. You need to not have conversations where you're supposed to remember things anymore. You're clearly not equipped for it. And
if you're listening now, we mean this with all the love in our hearts.
Yeah, but it's like that's what I'm saying though, is that things that you would think people would never forget from their own generational experience.
Well, but like, let's be honest, Michael, you remember everything you ever watch in a movie. You have like a weird, crazy,
you do have like this
sponge
weird
memory
of like,
it's impressive.
It is beyond impressive.
Okay.
I thought I knew movies until I met this guy.
Just remember, anything you say to me, I'll never forget.
Oh no, you do forget.
Unless you're looking at your phone.
It's gotta be on disc.
Randall says Daredevil, Once Upon a Time in the West and Once Upon a Time in the West and America, Donner's Superman 2 RoboCop 1986, unrated, no, too gross.
He's talking about a few different
couple
director's
different
cuts.
things.
All right, so if we're talking about these,
I've got more.
Oh,
sorry, Randall's got another one. Quick, didn't some R-rated movies film the same scenes for TV, like the suicide scene at the beginning of Lethal Weapon, where the girl was covered, but the theatrical cut she was?
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and then TBS, like all those types of channels, will definitely chop it up. Wicked Person says, a bit late to the party, my friend and I rented Police Academy from the store. Then when I went home after a censored version of it was the late night TV movie, I watched it just to see the changes.
You know, I've actually done that. You're not the only one. I've done it as well, going, how are they going to make that movie on cable TV?
I know. And then
it
they
seems like it can't
they
be done.
cut out all kinds of crazy stuff where the movie almost doesn't make sense.
Naked Gun is a perfect example. Like, there's so much slapstick but adult humor in there, and then they put it on TBS. I was like, is it even going to be funny?
I know, right?
Eyes Wide Shut, next on TBS. It's like 20 minutes long.
If they do that, I will watch that.
I will
just
too.
to see what they did.
It'll be shorter than a 70s Doctor Who episode.
JSP says, really wish they'd make a director's cut of the Terminator with the deleted scenes in the movie.
The Terminator or T2?
Terminator. They've released deleted scenes from it, but they've never done like a special edition director's cut of it. Yeah.
I actually didn't. I mean, I think I heard that, but I don't know what they are.
Jody says, was watching that South Park episode where everything needed to be reviewed and corrected by the Chinese to meet the Chinese market. Wonder how much truth is in that.
There is a lot of truth in that. They actually do. They change poster art. They change the content of the movies themselves to appeal to the Chinese market. Yeah,
and a lot of titles change. Like
I
mean, if you watch and I'm a fan of Monty in Australia and his reviews, and that's one of the things that he in his top 10 list of movie things to know about movie, he always puts how the titles are so different overseas than it is in the US.
Right.
Peter Vinkman says, Wrath of Khan have many deleted alternate scenes. There are even stills of a mysterious Khan child by the Genesis torpedo before detonation.
Yes. So that's always been kind of a point of contention where Kurt looks over to the spot and his son's body's no longer there. That's always been a thing.
That's Star Trek 3. He's talking Star Trek 2.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, 2. He says that there's basically like a Khan disciple who's a child who's sitting next to the Genesis torpedo.
Oh, yeah. No, I do remember that. Yeah, that is a weird one.
Yeah.
You're right. But I'm thinking of 3.
You're thinking of 3.
Because of the Genesis planet.
Yeah.
And
which is a big one. Yeah.
And look to see his son, they show us and his son's body is gone. And everybody was like, well, did he get caught up in the Genesis wave? And
Scott says, do you have a favorite version of Blade Runner? I know I'm solidly in the minority, but I actually enjoy the theatrical cut because that's what my friends and I waited online to see.
We just said that. I answered final cut.
Yeah, I know, but that was a different person. It was a different person that asked that. But I would say for me, like, I can't keep straight all the titles and what people call these different versions of all these different movies.
With that as well.
But what I will say is any version of Blade Runner where there's the voiceover by Harrison Ford, I don't like it. It's really, really, I don't like voiceover in general in movies.
It's a little hard to deal with.
The voice of God thing is really annoying to me, and especially when like you're making a movie, so you should tell your story visually when you can. Now I get like sometimes
so you don't like Lean on Me.
I feel like there are other ways to accomplish some of that. But
I would say that the final cut is my definitive version of Blade Runner, simply because I've watched all the documentaries about why he finally went back, and also keep in mind the director's cut of it was called the director's cut didn't actually have his there was the work print, the international edition, and the director's cut. And all of them didn't involve Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott was only involved in the theatrical cut and then the final cut. So between those two, I prefer the final cut.
Eddie says, I remember seeing The Big Red 1, the reconstruction, for the first time and being floored by it.
Yeah, it is a completely different movie, a better movie. Big Red 1 is in many ways like Kingdom of Heaven, another Ridley Scott film. I'm trying to think of any other versions. There are 2 versions of Mel Gibson's Payback, 2 completely different films, but both shot at the same time. Big Red 1 is a film that is completely different because of so much that the studio excised when they took it away from Samuel Fuller. Kingdom of Heaven was the same way. The studio, they didn't take it away from Ridley Scott, but because Ridley Scott plays the game, but they said cut over an hour out of this movie. And he did. And what happened was it gutted the plot. Big Red 1, this right here, this was Saving Private Ryan 20 years before it happened, directed by a guy who actually was in the war in Europe. And so it is a much more realistic portrayal of what a soldier experiences in a war zone. And it is a much better movie all the way around. I don't own Saving Private Ryan, and I never will. I hate that movie. But I own and this is the sad part, like Star Trek the Motion Picture, this movie's restoration was only done in SD. So now they're going to have to go back. They have the theatrical on Blu-ray, but what's the point of watching it? And for those of you who don't know this movie, if you're Star Wars fans, Mark Hamill is the co-star in this movie as one of the American soldiers. So take that for what
JSP says, have you guys seen the whole 1 extra minute of footage that's in the Commando director's cut?
I have heard about the Commando director's cut, but when I heard it was only like a minute of extra footage, I was like, I'm not paying the secondhand price to see that. I'm like, nah.
John points out that there is a chronological or combined version of The Godfather Part 1 and 2. I know that there was a, because there's a lot of flashbacks and different things, but there is a chronological version of that.
I've seen the chronological Godfather 2, and I've seen the theatrical.
I prefer the theatrical on that myself. I like it jumping around.
And we haven't watched it yet, but we did acquire the new Godfather 3 retitled Godfather
I kind of can't wait to see that, because I can't imagine, much like the Snyder Cut, I can't imagine that that's a savable movie. Like, I've seen the raw materials. I don't think you got anything there. Like, I don't think you have anything that... Anyway, we'll see. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. Robert Hart says, the RetroBlasting team, of the newer Star Wars films, I enjoyed Rogue One the most. What have you heard regarding an intact alternate cut?
All right.
Boy, you just opened Pandora's box.
At least you didn't mention Highlander. Oh, no!
Sorry to all the people who have super chats awaiting. Hopefully I won't lose.
All right, well, do the super chats, and then I'll get back to Rogue One.
We are going to come back to Rogue One. I just want to get a little bit more caught up.
You're going to get a super chat response to end all super chat responses.
Gunstar1 says, recently bought Kingdom of Heaven director's cut and Big Red 1 reconstruction and was not disappointed. Thank you for the recommendation. Wolfie says, Mad Max, I loved the movie as it was, even with the terrible Americanese dub. I was blown away when they gave us the original Australian audio. Hey fella, you're a turkey.
I agree with you, because I love that movie series, amazing. All of them, and I love the first one. I completely agree with you. Gone in 60 Seconds is another one that was horrible in the director's cut version. Nicolas Cage, not the original.
Okay.
It's like Payback was really good as a director's cut until the end, and I preferred the theatrical ending.
Yeah, Gone in 60 Seconds, the tone completely changes in the movie and the director's cut.
Robert says, the Lethal Weapon director's cut had a better opening scene that better portrayed how Martin Riggs was actually crazy. Yes, I agree that the director's cut is much better and much more explains that character's whole demeanor, like everything where he's coming from, and it makes everything else later in the film pay off so much better when you can see that.
That's why I don't own Lethal Weapon 1 or 2 on anything but DVD, because the director's cuts were probably only mastered in SD and have not been upgraded.
Yeah,
which is correct.
Connor says, isn't it unfortunate that we got the director's final cut and vision in one go for The Last Jedi?
Oh, well, you know what? That's hubris right there, because what that says is my script was infallible from the beginning, and I didn't even do a second draft. We know he didn't. So I know.
Jody says, right? Top 3 most ridiculous items added to a special cut.
Well, Han shot second.
Well, I think like the things that jump out at me are like when you talk about how they made that weird change to like R2 in the swamp, in Yoda's swamp.
Oh, they took out Luke's joke.
Yeah.
And replaced it with one. You're lucky you don't taste very good.
Oh, they took that out.
They replaced it in the special edition with "You were lucky to get out of there."
Like,
this
why?
Is how I
Why did
watch
that need to
those.
be changed? Like, what was the big urgent need for that to be changed?
Yeah, I don't. That's
like, it's just a
forever
weird
mystery.
And yet they didn't color correct the film. So it's like you're gonna take the time to fix this, but you're not actually gonna fix and
Right.
restore the film.
Oh,
Which that came during the Blu-ray
yes.
era.
Which again, why?
Right. Now, so
I'm
still got super chats?
scrolling and it's jumping and I've got all kinds of problems.
So sorry, guys. We're getting used to super chats were easy to get to, but now they're even harder.
Yeah.
To get to.
All right.
There's
So
many.
it
I think
looks
we're
clear.
caught up.
So Rogue One. If you watch
Gray Jedi, you're just gonna have to wait a minute.
If you watch the trailers for Rogue One, obviously we've all seen this, where the trailers are filled with footage and lines that are not
that actually look good.
Now, some people have tried to pass that off because director Gareth Edwards said, well, there were some things that we filmed just for fun that the marketing people picked up on and put in the trailers, like Jyn turning around in the lit hallway with the Imperial lights, you know, and then what's his face, Krennic standing in front of the Death Star thing. But those things were minimal. Like, those were just 2 shots in a trailer that's filled with actual footage that never got in the movie. And the reason being, from everything I've learned, is that they can say all day that, you know, Tony Gilroy can make a snotty interview where he's like, I had to come in and help them, and I don't even like Star Wars, but anything we did was going to improve their position. And it's like, well, that's Hollywood arrogance right there, run amok.
A lot. Gareth
Edwards was a proven director. He'd made, you know, decent movies that hadn't tanked. And the real truth about this is that Disney had just made $2 billion on The Force Awakens, and they suddenly started worrying that they were about to then show people a Star Wars war film that they've been marketing. They got cold feet, and they wanted to change the tone of the movie, which made Gareth Edwards' footage unworkable to their aim. On top of that, this is also true, they said, we really need this movie to be 30 minutes shorter. In what universe does a Star Wars audience want less Star Wars? Like, in what?
No, I agree.
Because after seeing some of the recent entries, I would prefer less.
But that's the funny part. The next year, Last Jedi came out, and it's the longest Star Wars movie ever made. And you're going, okay, why are you, what's going on here with the plastic animals? Okay, fine.
It said that it was like Marvel. I don't really know what those characters are in Marvel, though. Anyway, so
the point is that Rogue One has a completely different cut, that whether it's completely finished or not, I assume it was rough assembled because they knew what they needed to reshoot and everything like that to achieve their aims. But the entire final battle, which is Tim and I's big contention in the movie,
yes,
was completely different and based on logic in the original concept. And you can see it both in the footage, you can see it in the behind the scenes reels that were shown at San Diego Comic-Con. You can see, okay, so remember how there's that tram, that train that seems to have that station? Well, it was supposed to run between 2 islands, so on Scarif. So let's pretend that Melinda's an island and Tim is an island.
I am a rock. And I am an island.
And I'm the tram in the middle.
I'm Geo.
All of those shots that show them running on the beach and the AT-ATs trying to kill them and everything like that, and them dodging and sand going everywhere. If you watch closely, you can see that Jyn has the drive of information clipped to her belt. Because what happened, they come down to the planet. And I thought that when I read this, and I was like, this is what I was seeing in the trailers. I'm not even going to get into the great lines that didn't make it into the movie. We could be about that all day.
Yeah, because I got.
I know, but you have logic built into the structure of the final battle, because the Imperial facility, which was their data facility, it had a transmission center on one end with a big tower and a
I thought you were putting your arm around me.
With a big tower and a radar dish. The other side, on the other island, or the other end of the island, was the data archive. The reason that they didn't have the two in the same building was for exactly the purposes of, if infiltrators tried to steal data, they wouldn't be able to easily transmit it out.
Yes.
So when they get the data, right, they find out in the original concept, the shield has been closed. They cannot get out, and they're trapped because their initial plan was we get the data, we get back to the ship, and we get out. And they're like, well, what are we going to do now? The only thing we can do is transmit it from here. And they're like, yeah, but the entire Imperial garrison is between us and the transmission tower. So they have to then fight a war all the way from one side of that island to the other, which is awesome. And they totally cut it out. And they're like, we're just going to simplify this by making it climb up above where we already are, and you'll get to the thingy. And it's like, that's weak sauce. Like, that's really weak. Look, I think it's the best movie that Disney's done in the Star Wars universe so far, by far. I know you say Solo is the best by a margin. But I recognize this movie has got problems that
it completely breaks the Death Star for me.
Yeah. Rogue One has a better cut sitting in the vault.
Has to.
It has to. And Disney will never let us see it.
Well, they do that with a lot of their movies.
Yeah.
I have a request.
Okay.
I'm melting. Can you turn
I will turn the air up.
AC
and
down?
we'll do some super chats.
And then I've got to do some super chats. So Gray Jedi says, off topic, but did you hear that the Macross Robotech rights dispute has been settled? We're finally going to get international releases of the sequels.
Really? Now that I have not read that.
I hadn't heard that, but
usually see those articles pop up, but I haven't seen that one.
And it flipped, because why wouldn't
Well, I have an excellent Blu-ray set of the original Macross.
I told Michael the article that came out yesterday about the next 3 Star Wars movies and who they're about, and I thought he was going to hit me, even though it was just I'm the messenger.
Blech, blech.
Okay, Raymond. Wow.
Whoa, Raymond, thank you so much for the kind super chat.
Super generous. He says, hi all. I recently got a DVD of Game of Death with Bruce Lee that features a 40-minute edit of Lee and his original footage from 1972 that was lost in a vault for 25 years.
What?
Much better than the cobbled together film done in 1978 after Lee's death. Wow, that is really interesting.
Yeah, I need to see that.
I bet that was an
I wonder if it's available on Blu-ray or, you know.
I don't know.
Raymond will tell us.
I mean,
I just found out that Warner Archive is actually releasing Jackie Chan's Drunken Master 2, not Legend of Drunken Master, which is the retitle.
Oh, did they shoot all of it at the same time and were supposed to be 2 movies?
No. They just
Changed everything?
They did was they took Drunken Master 2 for the US and just retitled it Legend of Drunken Master and dubbed it into English, cut the ending off, and it changed a lot of the dialogue. So now they're finally releasing a official American Blu-ray of Drunken Master 2.
Sounds like Voltron.
Yes.
Wicked Person says, loving that the director's cut special edition industry has resulted in bloated overtime, over-CG'd versions that fans in turn cut down into fan edits.
Hey.
That is so true.
Well, it's turned into an industry on itself. Now, Michael, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Why is it you never see these versions played on any pay TV like HBO, Showtime, Cinemax? They only show the theatricals.
I wonder if it's a price thing.
I mean, we used to work for a cable company, and I can tell you it's not something they ever talked about.
Right, exactly. They just settled on theatricals because it's Muggle Land. It's like
Muggle Land.
It is very much.
Prime Syndicate says, for Melinda, being the swan, calm and serene above the surface, furiously managing super chats and running the live stream below. Yes, that is my lot in life.
Well, to be fair, she won't let us do it.
That's true.
So, you know.
That's true.
Would you like to do it?
No.
I would be fine doing it.
I'm
But
fine.
I don't want to be yelled at. So you do it.
I'm not going to yell at you, but they might yell at you if you miss one of their super chats.
I used to do it all the time.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Jody says, ever seen or heard of that Star Wars 8 fan edit where he cut out all the new ridiculous force magics? Ended up like a 30-minute video. Haven't seen it myself.
No, but I totally believe it.
Totally. Here's the thing.
I've seen the edit of the Hobbit. That's amazing.
The Hobbit edit is great. The Maple Films Hobbit edit. That's
I haven't
really,
seen it. I heard you told me.
It's really watchable. It's really good.
Very watchable.
It's nice that it exists. It's nice to know that is an option. The prequels and the sequels, and I'm not about to say that the sequels are better, I'm not about to say the prequels are as bad as the sequels. I don't mean that. What I mean is the many fan edits that have been attempted of those 2 trilogies are, in my mind, a useless exercise, because with the prequels, everything's kind of locked in.
You're not going to hurt my feelings.
No. What I'm saying is, with the prequels, everything's already locked into the flow of the story. So there's no way to slip those cards around and fix many of the problems. Like, you can fix maybe character moments here and there, minimize Jar Jar and the Phantom Menace a little bit, but otherwise everything has to play out a certain way. Like, I did it in film school. I used a primitive digital editing program off the shelf, and I took 45 minutes out of the Phantom Menace. I literally removed every Gungan except Jar Jar from the movie because there was no need for any of those scenes, right?
Even the battle?
The battle, you don't need it because she says, we'll enter the city using the secret passage on the waterfall side. So what's the point of having a diversion if you're already in the city?
Because she had to pull the army out of the city.
Right. It's a little thing. But the point is
it's
that
thin, Riggs.
Thin, Riggs.
Thin. That's not thin
but
at
my
all.
point is,
I wasn't even listening.
It doesn't actually, it doesn't affect the movie all that much to take them out. But here's the problem. When I watched the film, it was still just as dry and boring as it was with the 45 minutes in. So
Prime Syndicate says, further from Raymond, Bruce Lee's version is available in a documentary called The Warrior's Journey. It is a must-see.
I will check that out.
I will definitely check that out.
Because I love documentaries.
I do too.
And I love nunchucks.
You do. You really do.
We all love Bruce Lee.
That's true.
I mean, but to your point, going back to Rogue One a little bit, the reason we know there's got to be another cut is because how many Disney movies have you ever seen that has a director's cut?
Zero.
Micah says, why have a war in Star Wars?
Well, that's the thing. They just weren't comfortable all of a sudden. They wanted to see if they could get that $2 billion again. And funnily enough, this is the second highest grossing Disney Star Wars film.
All you got to do is look at A Pixel Story, the documentary from 2000, and I can't remember the exact. I own it on YouTube. I bought the video, but it's John Lasseter's journey from college to basically being the owner of Pixar and how it worked with Disney. And just look what happened with Toy Story 1. Toy Story 1, they had already started rendering a completely different movie than what ended up on the screen because of Disney and what Disney said they had to do. So we know that already exists out there. They showed it in that documentary. So that only supports Michael's,
And if you'd like to hear more about Disney, please be sure to watch. Tonight at 6 o'clock Eastern time when we release our latest video.
There's going to be so much hate. Woo! Boy, it's going to be entertaining.
Midnight's Edge says, I knew I loved Michael for a reason. I love nunchucks too, so you should see my nunchuck collection.
I mean, what 80s kid didn't have the store in the mall where you bought Ninja Stars, nunchucks, and what were the little pointy sticks?
Oh, commas with the little blade on them. And
love those things. Yeah. We all thought we were ninjas. The South Park got it right when they were ninjas. I mean, that's what we thought we were.
Yep.
I mean, girls too.
I mean, not so much, but my cousin was super into it.
I had a lot of little girlfriends in the 80s who thought they were ninjas like me.
Player?
The kung fu thing where they go.
Yeah.
It's a kung fu stance.
Yeah. It's the flamingo, I think.
Yeah. Jackie Chan and Michelle Yeoh do it all the time. What?
I want you to do it again.
His hands are perfect for it.
That's true.
I'm kidding. I'm
fine.
kidding.
You know what? Everybody needs to be good at something.
Scott Hughes says, my ninja store was called Treasure Box.
I'm telling you, we all had them.
It sounds like a different kind of store, though, doesn't it?
Well, look,
well,
I will say there were some questionable stores in the 80s that you would go in and be like, what is that? Ooh, Ninja Stars. And your parents were just like, yes, I will buy you a Ninja Star just to get the hell out of here. And we didn't know why until we became adults ourselves.
Right.
Not saying that wasn't the case. Anywhere that has, what do they call it? The Spanish fly, whatever stuff right next to the Ninja Stars. I mean, come on. That was, it was the 80s, baby. That's all I can say. So you're laughing, but you know it's true. You know it's true. Try to deny it.
Search your feelings. You know it.
I was scared to go in those stores in the mall. but mostly spent my time in the tape store.
Well, Columbia. I mean, not Columbia, but
Starship is where it was for me.
Oh yes, I do. Oh, I forgot all about Starship. Sorry,
Starship.
That's fine.
Records and tapes.
Camelot.
Oh my God. I dated a guy who managed a Camelot music.
Oh, you were banging then. That was awesome.
It was great because I got all these like promotional release CDs and stuff like that.
My mother worked for Circuit City. True story. My mother worked for Circuit City in the 80s, and they would get promotional tapes for the home audio, and she'd bring I had like a studio print of Gwen Stefani before she was ever a hit. No doubt. Back before they were ever popular. So
I almost just said the words "no doubt."
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, we're derailing everything. I'm sorry.
So, Michael.
Yes.
What is your favorite? Have you already answered? What is your favorite?
Oh God, are we doing the Dragon Con question? What's your favorite? Fill in the blank.
Well, it's possible that conventions are going to be starting back up again. So I just wanted to get my bad questions rolling because like the worst question you can ever ask in one of those is, what is your favorite?
Yeah. Before we go into favorites, I want to talk about one thing real quick. And that is when the theatrical cut is permanently supplanted by an inferior director's cut. And also cuts that either almost didn't exist or will never exist because the footage was almost or totally thrown away. So,
or neglected.
So like Blade Runner would have never gotten a final cut because they almost the palette of Blade Runner material that had been earmarked by the studio for getting thrown away had been pushed into a corner of the warehouse, and it had sat there for 19 years and no one bothered to do their job.
I have to imagine if you worked in Hollywood, it would become so, I guess, non sequitur to you that you have these blinders on to what you're doing and you don't focus on.
But that's the funny part. They didn't actually do their job and throw it away, and they saw the timestamp on it on the sheet of paper that said, dispose of by.
Well, I'm glad you made me watch that Doctor Who documentary because. You want to talk about some people that goes to the end of the earth to preserve some cheesy sci-fi?
Yeah.
Look at that special. And yes, I call Doctor Who cheesy. I'm sorry. We have to admit it's cheesy, but it's wonderful.
It's wonderful. Yeah. So. Yes, go ahead.
Raymond says.
Raymond, thank you.
To further answer your question, Game of Death is available on Blu-ray as well and contains the 40-minute edit. Also, check out the Hong Kong Legends Platinum Edition of Game of Death from the UK. So far, I've only seen these on eBay.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So like with Lawrence of Arabia, the studio kept cutting it down after the premiere because they said it's too long.
Makes sense. You can only see that much of it on the screen.
They kept saying, smaller markets won't sit in the theater. They won't sit in the theater that long. They need it cut down more and more and more. Well, then by the time the theatrical run was over, all that footage had been physically cut out of the negative and just stored somewhere and then got lost. So they thought it was lost forever. But then in the late 80s, they found the footage and they were like, what do we want to do with this? And they're like, we need to put Lawrence of Arabia back together again. It's like the ultimate cinematic Humpty Dumpty. And
this is true.
So they put it back together again and it's been there ever since. Now, I want to bring up two other films. These are examples of the theatrical cut being superior in my mind to the director cut. And then Hollywood not giving us a choice from the DVD era forward. Last of the Mohicans and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves were only given to us as director cuts.
I know you love that movie.
Look, it's not in my top 10.
I know it's not, but you still have.
He enjoys it. Like I'm telling you,
I still got the version. I still have the DVD version that you have to flip the disc.
Flip the disc.
I have that.
That disc that's the last time in America the theatrical cut was available. Then when they went to the single dual-sided disc, they did the director's cut, which I thought, much in the same vein as Star Trek The Wrath of Khan director's cut, I didn't like it. But you couldn't get it anywhere, in better quality after that theatrically. Same thing with Last of the Mohicans, which was so different that a lot of the legacy fans were like, this is terrible. Like, this is not a good... It's
always funny when it backfires on them.
Yeah. Well, they stubbornly tripled down on it because Michael Mann was like, no, this is the version that I want. It's my vision. Well, Australia, love you, Australia.
My vision.
Australia took Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and
Australia's
Last of the Mohicans. They are. And they
Always
said,
are.
we're going to release Last of the Mohicans and Robin Hood on Blu-ray. But as a bonus disc, we're also going to scan the best quality theatrical prints of both of these movies and have them as bonus discs. And so you can watch both of these movies now theatrically, which I think is great.
Me, when I tried to watch the Snyder cut of Justice League, and it was in 4:3, and I kept turning off my TV, turning on, messing with every setting to realize that I missed the message at the front of the movie that said, to preserve his creative vision, you must view this movie in 4:3, which is the dumbest thing ever. Sorry.
Wolfie says, Alien 3, a hair closer to Fincher's vision. I like the alternate version better. Ball burster, queen, face hugger, and trapping the alien successfully.
Yeah, the work print version that's on the Blu-ray is actually the more interesting way to watch Alien 3 for sure. But Alien 3 is a movie that you watch it as an academic study. You don't watch it as an actual film. It's like one of those.
Wish they would decanonize.
Yeah, you do. It's like, but yeah, I do really enjoy. You know what's even better than the work print for Alien 3? The documentary about the making of Alien 3.
It is.
You want to talk about like an Island of Dr. Moreau level nightmare.
I was thinking to say, Melinda's the one who educated me on it.
Yeah.
So.
David says, Melinda, Snyder Cut is awesome. Accept it. Lose the hate and move on. I have spoken.
Oh,
no. Space Monkey Mafia says sometimes not even the director can save a movie with their cut. Highlander 2 is proof positive.
Oh my gosh. Possibly the only movie I would rate just below the Snyder Cut of Justice League would be Highlander 2.
Well,
hey, lose the hate, Tim.
Somebody, dude.
Actually, no, let it flow through.
Anybody who's like lose the hate automatically, I'm just like walking.
Hey,
like,
look, if I have to suffer because I like the Clone Wars, you got to suffer because you like Justice
There
League.
is something out there. There is something out there, David, that you don't like, and you want to express your dislike for it. And I'm going to remember this day, and I'm going to be like, lose the hate, man.
Just kidding. It's fine.
I'm not.
I'm not.
Hippy dippy.
I'm understanding, man. I got my favorite stuff that is ridiculous. Attack of the Clones is ridiculous. I love the damn movie.
He's probably typing that while
Trust
teaching
me.
his lion to eat tofu.
Cats are obligate carnivores and they must eat meat.
Look,
just saying.
Highlander 2, here's the thing. Highlander 1, we owned on Laserdisc.
Whatever happened to the Laserdisc?
As a teenager, I bought it because it said Director's Cut Highlander 1. And it had all the deleted scenes that I didn't know were ever in the movie, like where he's in World War II in the French farm and he shoots the German guy with the Schmeiser and protects the little girl who grows up to be his.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff wasn't in the theatrical. So I'm like, wow. Well, then I started reading about Highlander 2 and how bonkers all the different versions are. There's the Renegade cut and the original theatrical European cut versus the American cut. And I'm going, which one is even worth watching? And you know what I determined? None. So I've never watched Highlander 2.
You've never even seen it?
No. Why would I do that?
Oh my God, you're missing out.
I think you need to see.
Tim, I think you and I need to make Michael watch
I think we need to at least watch the alley fight scene.
100%.
Oh, where he beats up all the guys and then he just walks up to Virginia Madsen.
They're on the floating skateboards.
Yeah, and he walks up to Virginia Madsen and just starts rutting. Like, she just literally seen him come out of like a time cloud or whatever, and he's like...
I totally think Michael needs to watch Highlander 2. How many people think that Michael should watch Highlander 2?
Pretty soon, I'm going to get my polling thing working on this channel, and it's going to be a great day in the morning.
Great day.
All right. Jody says, just a random statement. I'm glad that in the Netherlands, we don't dub but sub movies. Ever tried to watch a movie when dubbed into a different language? Ugh.
I hate dubbing. I like subs.
I prefer
subs.
subs.
I like subs too because for some reason Netflix right now is on this huge dubbing thing.
I hate the dubbing.
So bad.
Although somebody earlier in the thread said that there's a dubbed version of the Kevin Costner Prince of Thieves, and I'm like, that's interesting.
Well, anything Kevin Costner.
No, I'm just saying, like, they dub him with a real British person. Like, that would make it freaking amazing. Like, I kind of like
would love back to something real quick.
No,
would be interesting.
Do you know what my real problem with people who are saying, you know, drop the hate when it comes to the Snyder Cut? Do you know what my real problem is?
That you're not laughing at them?
Because the only reason that the Snyder Cut exists is because of their immense hate of the theatrical cut of Justice League. So your hate created the Snyder Cut.
Well, not just the Justice League, but like all of those movies and like maybe this is just me though, and people who agree with me, but like just the whole vision of that universe is the worst.
I don't even care about.
I do, and like you can't fix that with a cut.
Well, I don't know. I loved Aquaman.
I'm talking about in the context of this conversation. I don't care if you like or dislike the Snyderverse. What I care about is the argument of drop the hate after you got the movie you wanted because you hated the other one so bad. All right. So your hate produced the thing you wanted.
Their hate is okay. Our hate is not.
I know it's bias. I get it, but I can't stand bias. I can't stand it.
Why don't you like double standards?
I don't like double standards.
Sean says,
looking at you, David. I'm looking at you.
That's okay. Sean says, so with all these movie bits and pieces that ended up on the cutting room floor, what vacuum would you recommend to clean all of it up? This question was sponsored by RC Cola, Moon Pies, and the WB Corporation board members.
Looking for a vacuum recommendation. We're never getting away from this.
Dyson, of course.
It's the Dyson aluminum pole suck.
I love Dyson stuff.
I do too, but Miles
grumpy. Bennett Dyson. He created Skynet and the world's most expensive vacuum cleaner.
You know,
Miles Bennett Dyson.
Terminator is one of those movies that everybody loved, but most people apparently didn't actually like pay attention to, because now we live in this reality where like everything from Terminator is coming true. And it's like, did you guys get the memo that that was bad? That Skynet's like probably not what we want to go toward, but we're just continuing to like run full force into. Okay, well, JSP says, I would have kept everything in the Highlander director's cut except the flashback battle scenes before the garage fight.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I that didn't bother me like it's apparently the point of contention for you, but I mean, sure.
Micah says, no, they dubbed Costner's voice. Are you saying that they dubbed over Costner, or you're saying they put Costner? What else? What would that mean?
I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, you got to give us some context on that.
Maybe it is, and I just skimmed past it. So, let's see. Jim says, which Connery film is worse, Highlander 2 or Zardoz?
Highlander 2.
Well, he's never seen Highlander 2, so he really can't make that assessment. And Highlander I haven't 2. Seen Zardoz, so
you've seen them both.
Oh yeah.
So okay.
Highlander 2.
Raymond says, I always hate directors / extended cuts of movies that are just the original release with deleted scenes put back in that were already available on a previous release. Yeah. Talk about double dipping. Yeah, that's lame sauce.
X-Men 1.5.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that's...
Whereas at least the Rogue cut of Days of Future Past had substantial additions to the movie that, you know, made it make sense in certain ways.
I haven't even seen that guy.
Shockwave 75 says, what's your issue with the Wrath of Khan?
My issue's not with the Wrath of Khan. The Wrath of Khan is my favorite Star Trek movie of all time. My issue is with the director's cut that was brought out on Blu-ray, or first DVD, then ported over to Blu-ray. I don't like the 5 minutes of additions because I feel like certain scenes are all right. The extra stuff with Savick, stuff like that is fine. The addition of his nephew kills a lot of the momentum because the nephew's not a great actor. Oddly enough, though, except when he's in his dying scene, then he's excellent. But when he's just standing there, it's like, wow, like this is bad. So it kills a lot of the momentum and the pacing. That 5 minutes sprinkled throughout kind of
it's not needed.
It's not needed. Star Trek 2 was a very tight movie like Back to the Future. It had perfect pacing, perfect acting, perfect whatever you want to call it. And I love that movie structure so much that when I saw the director's cut, I was like, it feels like this movie's just constantly pumping the brakes now. And that's my problem.
Sonny says a Highlander prequel might have worked.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like why?
The tagline, instead of it saying there can be only one, it would be like when there was more than one.
It's like Mad Max, right? Because Mad Max was supposed to be a one and done. Like when the studios came to them and said, we want you to make more, they were like, I don't even know what to do.
Right.
Because it's over.
And it's obvious that they've been at that every sequel since. Like,
right.
And people are like, I love...
Even though they're not... I love Thunderdome.
Road Warrior.
I loved Road Warrior. Love the original's my favorite.
Fury Road.
I love all of them, honestly, but they're very loosely tied together.
Wotage says it's a symbiont circle of hate.
That's right.
Hate makes you strong.
That's my whole point. Like hate and criticism is not always hate in the traditional sense. It's not like if I hate a movie, that doesn't make me Emperor Palpatine. All right, like you can actually.
Ooh, I wish it did.
So there's someone in the comments, and I'm not going to pull up your chat, but they're saying that this is a pay-to-play channel and that we only read comments when you pay money. And here's the deal, guys. When it's a really busy, super chatty episode like this, I don't have a lot of other choice but to focus on the folks who have given money, because there are a lot of shows who don't even read every super chat. So we're doing our best. And when there's any downtime, I have actually read at least 3 non-super chatted comments during the stream. So
here's an idea for you. Go join Patreon. I get that it's pay to play too, but it's $1 a month, and you can be in all the after shows. And we actually do try to read all those comments because we don't even accept super chats. So that might be an alternative for you, because again, our chats fly by so fast, we just can't get to everything.
Or you can just, maybe you're just a troll and you're just whatever. But for those of you who are not trolls and who get frustrated, like, I'm seeing a lot of your comments, but I'm just trying to make sure that the folks who have given us super chats are getting...
We read everything, we would have no show.
That's the whole thing. Once a live stream gets to a certain size, there's a reason that they end up only able to read the super chats. It's not because they become pay for play. It's because the chats are literally going by so fast because there's hundreds and hundreds, sometimes thousands of people on
we've got
channels.
575 people in the room. We've got a number of people who are making all kinds of different comments, and we would love to be able to read everyone's comment and respond, but Chatica says, all this Highlander talk and no mention of all the different scenes in the trailer for Highlander Endgame and what we got in the actual release.
Oh my gosh, Endgame. It was almost as bad as Highlander.
I walked out of that movie. I got dragged to that movie.
Bad.
I walked out.
The only thing that's even worse than that is the latest one, which was...
I didn't see
that. You almost sounded like him right then.
Well, you sounded like
I didn't see that.
But
what was that one? Straight to Netflix?
It's the one where they finally brought Duncan into the movie universe. What was it? I can't remember now. But it was bad too. I think it was a made-for-TV movie. Like they were gonna do it theatrically, and they were like, "Nah." So they put it on Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what you had some other things that you were gonna say about these?
Yeah, I was just gonna talk about how theatrical cuts that didn't get taken out of circulation and supplanted for a director's cut, which started with the Star Wars films, which are the most high-profile, war crime of that, which is the original trilogy is not available in its theatrical cut. Robin Hood followed.
Yeah, that almost goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Last of the Mohicans followed. In other aspects of this, certain studios are very good about making sure that all the versions are available. Like when you buy, Blade Runner, you get all the other versions in high def when you get the final cut in 4K. So you can still watch very high quality versions of all the other
And isn't
formats.
that the best case scenario?
Yes.
Is like you're giving the people the option of whichever one they want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if you're making all of them, if Lucasfilm years ago had just made the original trilogy available and continued to make them available in some version, it would have silenced a whole lot of the outrage from the original trilogy fans for all these years. And I feel like the whole level of discontent would have been so much, like, continue to put out the special editions too. Some people grew up with them, some people prefer them, but a lot of us don't. Give us the choice. But George Lucas is like, no, it's mine.
Yeah. And then of course there's
not anymore.
I mean, not now, but I'm not going to say what he said.
And of course, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Scott says, I know the Lord of the Rings had its own whole live stream, but here's to Tolkien for having his work inspire both the most and least justified extended cuts ever.
Yeah, true. Although the extended cuts, I think, are largely a win for that series. I don't think there's anything.
Sonny follows that up with, do you consider the Lord of the Rings extended cuts to be bad? I actually really love them. I really love them. When I watch it now, I only watch the extended cuts. I don't think that the theatrical cut is bad, though. It's not like there's poor continuity or pacing without the extension. It's just that I am a huge fan of the books, and so you get to see a whole lot more of that content when you watch the extended cut. But I think they're both solid movies, unlike The Hobbit, which everyone knows is a little bit bloated or a lot bloated and horrible. Just not great.
Yeah, The Hobbit needs a cut down, and thankfully Maple Films has done as much of that as we can do.
I have not seen it, but 3 films was way too much.
It's one 3-hour movie, and it's basically just like this beautiful prequel to the Lord of the Rings films. It's great.
Because there is a lot of good stuff there.
Right.
Like there's, great acting, beautiful costumes, like
Aaron's favorite character.
Tons of stuff. But it's just like it was in this bloated mess of a poorly paced. I'm shocked that that came out and was like that. Brian says, for those of us who grew up without cable, the TV cuts were sometimes the first exposure to certain films like Superman, Star Trek, the MP, and led to surprises when seeing the theatrical cuts.
Yeah, he said Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Oh, Star Trek the Motion Picture.
There's also the tragedy of, like we just talked about with Rogue One, at least we know the footage is in the vault, but there's also the tragedy of original cuts that never saw the light of day that will never be possible, such as with Event Horizon, where there's a much better cut that's in the vault that you can see parts of on like a videotape dub or something that they did. Yeah, but there's no
I've watched that movie a few times, and that movie has a cult following like big time. I would love to see that just to see if it gets.
But you can't. Well, you can see the videotape version, but the actual footage that they would reconstruct it with was ruined on accident in storage. So like the footage was not just lost, it was ruined. Same thing with an animated film from Nelvana called Rock and Rule. MGM.
I remember that.
Yeah. MGM took the movie from Canada and cut it down drastically for the US release. And of course, then it flopped. But the Canadian studio, Nelvana, had the full cut that they distributed. Which was way better. But their whole studio burned down in a fire. So they lost
it.
So the only version left is the MGM Interpositive.
Including the soundtrack too.
Yeah, the soundtrack is lost. Blondie's song is lost. All that kind of stuff is all.
It's a real shame.
So the only version you can watch, unless you have, and they have it on the Blu-ray, they have as a bonus feature, an old VHS master for Canadian rental stores of the original cut.
I'll have to go look. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere.
But it's like, the quality is so low off because you're not even getting a video master. You're getting a video tape that someone
there's stuff on YouTube like Earthstar Voyager.
Yeah.
I loved that. I wish it had been made into a series. Disney has just let that thing rot. The only copy is the one that's on YouTube, and it's off of an old VHS tape. It's horrible sound quality.
Right.
But at least something's preserved.
Yeah.
Jody says, thoughts about movies that offer like multiple different endings on DVD and Blu-ray. Well, that brings up a really interesting thing we were talking about earlier, which is Little Shop of Horrors is an example of this. I mean, obviously you have something. We didn't know.
No idea.
That the theatrical 80s, Rick Moranis, Little Shop of Horror. Little shop of terror.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Anyway,
I love that movie.
Yeah, so there's an alternate ending to that from the theatrical, which is more in line with the stage production, which is not a happy ending, which is what they gave them in the Hollywood version.
The plants take over the planet. We want to see it.
I've got to see this alternate version.
Me and Melinda
but then there's stuff like Clue, which had 4 different endings.
Another great movie.
Depending on like which movie theater you saw it in, which is amazing and what a cool idea. And of course, they're all available. All the different endings are available Like,
it was released
and you can
that
just
way, wasn't it?
it was released, yeah,
On
and
VHS,
for a
though.
VHS.
Yeah.
Like you could just watch them all in a row, and that's the way we watched it recently.
It could have
when we-
happened
on
this
Blu-ray.
way.
Yeah.
It could have happened that way.
Right.
But this is what really happened.
Yeah.
They're all
So
guilty.
I just think that that's really a cool idea. But yeah, I like the idea of, I would love to see the cut of Nightmare on Elm Street without the added on, tacked on ending that Wes Craven didn't want to have, which is the very end where the friends all pull up in the car and the mom's on the front porch and all the people who are dead are not dead. And you're like, is this a dream? It's clearly a dream.
I was going to say, didn't the original Friday the 13th have a different ending too before they released it?
It seems like that probably because, I mean, when you think about like those feel like studios coming in and saying like this.
Oh, that's too hardcore. You can't do it.
No, we
way.
want to leave it open for a sequel. That's what they're doing.
I gotcha.
That's what.
This is too fine.
There's a finite ending at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street where Nancy like turns her back on Freddy and he's vanquished. And that felt too final, I think, for the studio. And so they kind of made Wes Craven film this extra scene and he was mad about it. And he's talked about it. But
where the
anyway,
mom gets pulled through the window at the front
yeah,
door.
and it's all just like, typical tampering by non-creatives. So
pesky non-creatives.
Yeah. Wicked Person says, new rule for Hollywood. If you want to make a film longer, number 1, it has to be stuff from the book. And 2, it has to have been a book.
Yeah, true. True.
That's good.
And usually a book before a movie. Because books after movies are never very good.
No. How come the Back to the Future novelization is like 70 pages long?
Kevin says, Michael says, picture me as a tram between Tim and Melinda. Me, pictures Eternia playset.
That's a great point. We're going to have one day.
Funny.
We're going to get one.
Horrible playset.
We're going to do it.
Horrible.
Me and Melinda.
Jody says, on behalf of Jason Anderson, it may have already been stated, but the greatest, read worst, TV edit was always the conversion of films from widescreen to pan and scan. Ooh,
that's true.
really
But we didn't
true.
know that really until...
but you could tell.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, you
could
tell.
I could tell in the Ghostbusters elevator scene where they just squished it.
There are some where you can really tell, or like their heads
Somebody
end up
saw
being...
a cockroach up on 13.
But you remember the old VHS of the
yes.
Ghost? They actually, instead of moving from one side to the other, they just squished it so that their heads were real narrow, and it's like, what?
Kind of like Star Trek: The Motion Picture when the Enterprise looked like Mount Everest.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Raymond says Monty Python and the Holy Grail's DVD release in 2001 had 24 seconds of added footage. Best extended cut ever.
They did that to troll everybody.
And with them, I appreciate it because that is just genius. Sonny says Army of Darkness also had alts.
Yes,
I think all the Evil Deads have alts.
I haven't seen the alts of Army of Darkness. I would love to because I do love that movie for its silliness, but I've not seen the alts.
I haven't either
of it.
I don't like Army of Darkness.
Well, I mean, I understand why. I do get why.
I love the original Evil Dead, though.
I like the original.
So
Evil
you don't
Dead
like
too.
Evil Dead 2?
Not as much, no.
And you hate Army of Darkness?
Correct.
I look. I understand why she does, but
thank you, Tim.
Army
I feel seen right now.
I'm sorry, but to
I
me,
get it.
To me, Army of Darkness has that Deadpool kind of humor, and I love it for it.
Bruce is great.
I love that.
I do too.
I am Henry the Red.
Hail to the chief, baby.
Duke of Shale, Lord of the Northlands, and leader of its peoples. Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Did you say the words exactly? For the most part. Sorry, Melinda. Sorry.
I love the lines of that movie.
I'm shocked that you would watch something like that. Just because you're like, funny. I don't like horror movies.
It's not horror. That's
not horror.
No, it's not.
That's not horror.
No, it's not. You're right about that.
I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now: Jack and Jack and Jack left town.
He left. Yeah, I love that movie.
Oh, that's a great line. Don't even.
It's like here's something I wish had a couple of versions to watch. Big Trouble in Little China. We love that.
Well, you guys love that movie.
Me and Michael love that. I'm just giving Melinda a hard time.
I think one of my favorite deeper cuts from the dialogue of Army of Darkness is where she brings him like this as a sort of a peace offering, this like really nice woven blanket or something like that. And he's like, she's like, I made you this, and he's like, thanks, I could use a horse blanket. He just throws it.
So bad. That's so good.
Anyway,
this is the first time I'm learning that Michael has ever even seen that movie, much less likes it.
I own it on DVD.
That doesn't mean anything. You own everything on DVD/Blu-ray/4K.
Sequels.
True story. But let me just make this point. He didn't own the prequels until he met me.
Well, no, I had them on DVD and then gave them away. I sold them.
You didn't have them when we were together.
Because
I was like, I want to watch them. And you were like, I'm not having that in my house. And I was like, yes, you are. And here we are today. Brian says, the early censorship of films also led to a glut of different versions. His Girl Friday has 3 or 4 versions on Amazon at different lengths.
That's true. And also The Big Sleep with Humphrey Bogart has a completely different cut of the movie that was found in the vaults from the year of release, and they are both on the Blu-ray as well. Also, we're on the DVD too.
Zantara says, interesting. I love horror movies, but I hate the original Evil Dead, and I love Army of Darkness. I mean, yeah, there different things resonate with different people for sure. I mean, I had a friend who loved horror movies and loved both Evil Dead and Army of Darkness. So I mean, I think it's just like if you have that kind of sense of humor where you kind of like that style of comedy, then it's probably really funny. But like my sense of comedy just doesn't. I just kind of look at it like it's a really punny dad jokes over and over and over. And so for me, I'm just
very much a 12-year-old.
It's movie. A groaner kind of like, oh my God, really?
It's like Mad Magazine. I mean,
but I also really love very B-level horror movies, like very, very bare bones, no budget horror movies. And I love the creativity that it forces people to use. Yep. It's really interesting to see what people come up with to be scary, because scaring someone is much like comedy. You're literally trying to elicit a visceral reaction in a person watching your film, which is very hard to do. And they're the movies that never have any budget. And so it's just often quite funny to see people trying to be scary and failing, but it's interesting. So
kind of like, what was it you made me watch with the weird slimy monster thing?
You're gonna have to be more specific.
The only horror movie.
Well, we watched Terrorvision.
Terrorvision.
Yeah.
That was horrible. I mean, that was truly horrible.
I have another movie for you to watch if you didn't like that.
Which one?
I'm not gonna say it on here because I'm gonna turn it into a dreamland possibly. Let's see. I saw some more super chats in here. Here's the thing, like a lot of people are talking about the Evil Dead movies, and I know that my opinion is not the most popular opinion. Most people really love Evil Dead. I mean, I'm sorry, Army of Darkness. And yes, Optimus. Evil Dead 2 is a slightly higher budget redo of Evil Dead 1. But that's kind of why I like Evil Dead 1, because Evil Dead 1 is taking itself seriously, whereas Evil Dead 2 is starting to kind of go into that comedic space a little bit. And I don't really like the tone. That's just me.
The tone.
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's just what I personally like. Robert says, I want the original cuts of Friday the 13th that the MPAA destroyed in the ratings process. They may be horror movies, but great effects from Tom Savini.
I would agree with that.
I'm not the biggest Friday the 13th fan, although of all the movies, the very first one is definitely my favorite. But I don't know a lot about all of that. I keep meaning to like read up on it, but I keep getting pulled away by other research. Let me read a few more of these before you start, if you would.
Okay.
Randall says, what are your thoughts on Star Trek 6's DC, as well as Highlander 3 and 4's director's cuts? FYI, Lord of the Rings extended cuts are on HBO Max.
I like
the undiscovered country.
Yeah,
we have them on 4K, so we will be.
You know what? I only ever saw when I was growing up. I didn't get to see Part 6 in theaters, so I saw the VHS version, which was always extended, and I liked that version. And then when I saw the director's final version on DVD, I thought that was excellent too, because it didn't have that many additions to it. when they brought it out on Blu-ray, they only brought out the theatrical cut, which took out all of these scenes that were important to link up the investigation. And I was like, oh, this sucks. And so
that's what they removed.
Yeah, they removed everything back to the theatrical.
Real quick, Chris says, I'm waiting for a cut of one of the Ewoks movies to be found that's more akin to Deliverance.
And also, as far as Highlander 3 goes, I've never really explored that. I know it's supposed to be better than 2, but
anything's better than 2.
Wicked Person says, off topic, loving hearing Tom Baker MST3K his own Doctor Who episode on the Blu-ray that I got because you said it was good.
Yeah, the Blu-ray is excellent. The goggle box stuff that they do, they call it behind the sofa, is that riffing that they do on their own shows. It's really, really good. I'm glad you're enjoying that.
Sonny says, was Captain Future also cut from 52 to 40 episodes in the USA?
I don't know, Sonny. Yeah, good question.
Sure. Peter Vinkman says, Melinda, have you seen Spookies from 1986? Yeah, and I also heard Red Letter Media talk about it too. So I probably need to go back and watch it though, because it's okay. You're good.
This is from Shane.
Shane and Heather, I believe.
Nice.
It is a t-shirt that says The Battle. 50% is knowing, 25% is red lasers, and 25% is blue
I saw
lasers.
this t-shirt. I love this t-shirt. Great. That's very nice.
That's funny.
Very
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you, Shane. That's awesome. Much appreciated.
That's
I will be
pretty
keeping
good.
that one safe.
That t-shirt has so many meaning to it. Having so much meaning to it. It really does. Only a true fan would know.
That's right.
I do like that. Here's a public service announcement about donations.
Oh,
we're going to do that now?
I'm just doing a general one.
Okay, yes, the general one, and we'll have a much deeper one.
And I will have a more detailed version in the after show. But just please note that if you send us, we are not soliciting any items from you guys. We're not saying we don't appreciate them, but we're saying we are not asking anyone to send us things. We like to honor what you sent and the time and effort and money or whatever you spent sending them to us by opening them here where you can sort of see us react to them. But we are not asking for them, and we cannot return them if you change your mind
3 years later
for any reason at any time. And there are many reasons why we can't do this. We are not keeping a master log of everything that has been sent to us by whom and when, and we can't have any way to verify that you are indeed the person who says you sent us XYZ and you want it back, and can you just pay for the shipping? So once you send something to us, for the most part, it's not really going to be...
obviously there are things that are sent for the purposes of it's a prearranged agreement.
That's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about if you're sending what you're calling a donation, and then years go by, we cannot guarantee that we can easily put our hands on the thing to send it back to you. So it's just, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it's very difficult to find things many years later. So we also can't know, like sometimes we have multiple versions of things. We don't know which one was yours. Like we don't have like tracking IDs on these things. So just a little, message. Jay says this has to be said. Unfortunately, yes, Jay, this does have to be said, and there's a reason why I'm saying it. So Brian says, just wanted to say thanks for today's topic. Well, you're welcome, Brian. Thank you for joining us. Tim got a really cool thing from France, which looks like postcards. Is that right?
They are. There's it's from Evander. Thank you so much, Evander.
You don't have to read that whole thing.
I'm not, but I will tell you the postage I love. It's very cool. It's very neat looking.
Yeah, it's really neat.
That for sure.
Yes. Pesky Angel says, unless it's your ex's ring. Yes. And in that case, I think we could probably send that back. Wilson says, too long, didn't read, no backsies, LOL. No one sent their wedding ring in a box. It was a weird situation, but
oh wow, he sent me a postcard that he got a decade ago. of an exhibition in Paris of the Foundation Center.
Neat.
Very cool.
I love that surrealist thing.
Yeah, this is cool. It's 3D.
Oh, so it's like lenticular?
Yeah.
Chris.
Oh, wow. Look, it's a really good one, too.
Oh, nice.
Chris says,
Wow.
hey,
Good
Michael,
like this
can you
anymore.
send me back your entire toy room, which I sent in error?
Come to the after show. It'll be very entertaining today. Evander, thank you so much for the postcard. This is very, very cool. I will be keeping this, putting this in my office. Thank you very much.
This is from the Inferno Candy Company. Tanya and Tommy Hudson. And this has got Melinda written all over it.
Somebody sent these to me.
A pig puff?
Yeah, Doritos.
I can't eat this one though. This will have to be for Aaron.
Why?
It's got meat in it.
Oh, okay.
I can, however, eat this one.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
This is
dehydrated habanero.
That's called Hell Crunch.
Hell Crunch.
And this is called Inferno Cookies.
Oh my god, this has got ghost peppers and Carolina Reaper.
I'm like, you are.
Yeah.
I'm not eating these until Aaron's here. That's just all I have to say.
I'm tempted to try it, just because I like spicy too.
Do you?
I do like spicy.
All right. Well, which
I
one
don't
of these?
know if I like that spicy.
Which one of these do you?
No, I'm not going to try it today. Y'all are going to have to go with me on this journey, as I'm going to have a bucket down here just in case.
This is great. Who sent this? I think I know who sent this. They've sent me a message on I've been talking to so many people.
This is from Jody.
Uh-oh.
Who was that last one from?
I don't know. I don't know. It looks like it was.
I'm trying to look it up because I'm pretty sure that I.
Jody. You are. I can see that you're back on your campaign to try and get me to.
Ooh, what is that?
I mean,
See,
this
Jody
is some of the. This is another super nice. Dear Michael, please find an item for the Robotech collection. Cheers, Jody. This looks like an original Henshin Robo.
It is.
Legios fighter from Genesis Climber Moss Beta.
Jody.
Look at that.
All I can think of is Batman. Where does he get all those wonderful toys?
Look at that. It's an
that
original.
Is amazing.
That's incredible, dude. I'm going to have. You see, here's the problem.
Wow, it looks so good.
Here's the problem. Now I've got to figure out where to put that in that shelf because it's too nice to just put away.
He's got room. Trust me. We could move the Silverhawks and make more room.
It's the jet from Moss Beta.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
It's very cool.
Yeah, the original.
Pointy.
The packaging's not even faded that bad. Somebody took very good care of it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take it from you.
Stop it.
This is from Scott.
Okay.
And yeah, this is definitely for sorry. I thought I'm talking to two different people named Scott, and I was like, I want to make sure that I'm right about that. So anyway, thank you very much, Scott. I look forward to trying this.
The Japanese do all the stuff you love with the logic and everything like that.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
How dare you?
Oh no, this is also from Jody.
Crazy again. Jody's actually visited us here in the States and came and
did a live stream with us.
Did a live stream with us and hung out with us.
And Kurt Road Trip says, don't feel bad for not being able to immediately send over a former donation. Australia has a sail barge and Censored still has yet to give away a sail barge.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Kurt.
We're just opening that Pandora's box.
You're
wider
right
and wider.
on the money.
Jody says, here's one more for the archive for the Robotech collection.
Did he write that?
I think he had the seller write it. I bet.
I don't know who wrote this,
MD.
but they possibly have the most amazing handwriting I've ever seen. Look at that handwriting. That's not printed.
Yeah, I could do that.
Well, just...
I mean, you're right.
Just whatever. I can't. Because
sure you could.
No, I can't.
You're very pretty, though.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mike says, you guys eat those and RetroBlasting may take on a new meaning.
That's why I said I would need a bucket nearby. Because...
oh no.
Oh my God. What happened?
It's okay.
Oh, and these were such cool toys that we never had.
It's another.
Yeah, and that one is super cool.
It's another Legios. Isn't this
metal?
Isn't this one? Yeah, it's that one. It's the AFC 01Z.
Is that one metal too, though? I don't think so.
Yeah, it doesn't feel metal.
I think that one's plastic. This one's metal.
Wonder why this one's plastic.
Jesus says, Michael, your new video was sick, bro.
Dude, thanks, bro.
Kieran says, you guys met Jody? I'm very jealous.
Okay,
so
yes, we have met Jody. He came to the house.
We went shopping for toys together, which was awesome.
It was super fun.
Either it's missing a pin,
or it fell out.
Or
that's an easy fix though, because nothing's broken.
It doesn't look broken.
It's not broken. It just let's check.
That's easy
to. That is an amazing freaking toy.
Ben says after lunch snack. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking like I want to give it a try. Like,
look at his freaking. It even has a clip in the gun.
Yeah.
Micah, I have no handwriting hate. I was just messing with Tim.
But my handwriting is absolutely
horrible. Very pretty handwriting.
Yeah, I don't know who did that, but it is amazing.
To me, it looks similar kind of to mine.
So I'm going to have to find a pin that's going to fit that.
That shouldn't be that hard. Well, make sure it's not broken. I don't think it is.
It's not. It's not broken at all. It just
Fred, the link to Patreon is just patreon.com/retroblasting.
Everybody wants to see what we're going to rant about today, and there's a couple of things actually.
There are. A World Made of Cardboard says, I missed the live stream. Sorry if you answered this, but what is your take on the Gareth Edwards Rogue One situation? You'll have to go back and watch because Michael did a really long.
Who was that asked that?
He was an up and coming director, and now that was his last movie.
Who was that asked that question?
A World Made of Cardboard.
Oh, World Made of Cardboard. Okay.
Yeah, Michael actually has a really long section earlier in the video. So
was that really his last movie? I didn't think that he was.
I don't know. I have not gone in and looked any of that up.
I don't think that was his last movie.
I don't know.
Go to IMDb and it'll say.
The World Made of Cardboard. Hit us up.
He's a Gemini.
And we will answer that for you.
Yeah. Let's see. Go to his go to his filmography. He's so it was the last movie he directed. That's too bad because he was doing real well. So, and that movie almost made.
Well, this doesn't mean he won't direct more, right? Is he dead?
No, he's not dead.
It sounds like he has such a bad taste in his mouth that he's like, see ya.
Right.
Which I can totally appreciate because I'm trying to get into a completely different industry than what I was doing for a living for very specific reasons. So I can totally appreciate it.
Jody says the red one is indeed missing a wing. It's the one that needs some TLC.
Yeah.
Not much.
It doesn't need much. It just needs a pin for the wing. Yeah.
It's an amazing toy though.
Plastic,
I do wonder why one is plastic, one is metal. I mean, metal is awesome.
Plastic Galaxy Toy Store.
Hey, Seth.
I'll let you read it if you wish. It's on the screen. So
he says the dominoes will fall.
I need to hit you up for something I'm looking for.
Colt. This is from Colt Sievert. Thank you so much. He says,
oh, wow.
He says, I hope this Luke helps. Don't let the bastards get you down. Your buddy, the Bionic Man, Colt. I had the hardest time. This is a Black Series Stormtrooper Luke. I had the hardest time trying to get this Luke Skywalker from 2 different eBay sellers, both of whom flaked on me. And Colt was like, well, I've got one of those.
God, the helmet is so cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was the part that was missing from the first one. Dude, thank you so much. This is going to be so helpful. I really appreciate it.
I'm so intrigued. I'm just.
Well, which one is it you're looking at?
The Dorhitos.
What are those?
All right, so let's do that box next because I think I know what's in this. I'm going to do this last.
Jesus says, your thoughts on Hasbro's $700 self-transforming Optimus?
I think
I want
it. Tim wants it. I think it's neat. It's a cool novelty, but you know me, I don't like automated gimmicks of any kind. So I'll be happy to look at Tim's. Not real interested in owning one myself. That is about half the price of a vinyl Cape Jawa, which I would much rather
He would
own.
become my answer to Vader. He would be my sidekick. Like Vader is your sidekick.
True.
But mine would be much cooler. And a robot. Which we will be one day.
This is from the Burkiettes in Illinois.
I think I've seen them in chat a few times.
Mm-hmm. Ah, here we go. This is from Shane, who says, Dear Eminem, please accept these as tokens of my appreciation for all the great content you put out and for giving me the opportunity to geek out and relive and reflect on my childhood of the late 70s and 80s. And I don't want to give away what's in this box, so I will open this. Keep up the great work, and I look forward to the next live stream. Shane, thank you so much. Let's see what we have in here. Oh.
Scott says these are not super hot, by the way.
Well, yeah, but this is Scott. what
That's
does
true,
Scott's level of hotness and my level of hotness may be two different things. He
That's
may be
cool.
like it's nothing, and I will throw up.
We have an unleashed Chewbacca from the Unleashed line from a few years ago.
Oh,
He looks like he needs a
I
trip
don't
to the
think I've
groomer.
seen that one. Well, he's running in the wind.
Oh, we have two.
When I see him, it reminds me of in the MST3K werewolf, where every time they show the Yanaglachi like on the table with his mouth hanging open, they go, oh! It looks like he's singing.
So one is from Revenge of the Sith. That's from Revenge of the Sith.
Hey
and this
Tim,
one's
hey Tim, and I.
This one's actually even better.
so these are from the Unleashed line, and
I love the gun.
yeah, the gun is really cool. Dude, thank you so much. We'll have to. I've never owned any Unleashed stuff. I remember seeing the Snowtrooper Luke in stores, but I never picked it up. Awesome. All right, we have one more here, and then we're done with the stream. So this is from R. Taylor Vara, and I think I know what this is. And here we go. Dear Michael and Melinda, here is a small thank you for the awesome content you create. Like I mentioned in my messages, I saw from your updated toy room tour video that you already had. Oh, I don't want to say that. It's been great chatting with you recently and look forward to more of your excellent work. Let's see. Was
that a spoiler alert of some kind?
Yeah. Look at this.
Oh, I know what this is.
This is
And it's amazing.
Custom vintage.
You're gonna have to get up and show it to them.
Yeah, it's a custom vintage Temple of Doom Indiana Jones.
Wow. Neat.
Let me put his weapons with him.
He looks great.
Yeah, he looks amazing.
Can't believe he went to that.
He sent me a stand.
Nice.
I want to know where he got this bridge knife. This is awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
All right, so
you got to put that on correctly.
Got to put the bag on correctly.
Well, if anybody knows how,
it would be me.
So there you go. Yeah.
That is sick.
Sick, bro. Michael, what's your T-shirt today?
My T-shirt is Kylie from the Step Back in Time single from her 1990 album Rhythm of Love.
So how many shirts do you have from about Kylie now?
He literally orders more like every other week.
I'm just curious how many.
That's why he was giving me flack for stuff I ordered earlier, and I was like, you know what? You order so many Kylie shirts that I can order anything I want.
Let me tell you about Michael.
Let me tell you about
Michael. So Michael has his own dressing boudoir. Have you ever watched Stardust?
No.
When the pirate he pushes the button and ship and it opens up.
He doesn't really have a
all
boudoir.
Of his outfits are in there. And Michael is also the only person I know that has a vintage army cot that he sits in while he puts all his boots and laces. I mean, it's
just a closet. It's just a walk-in closet that has an army cot in it.
That's in the closet.
Well, yeah,
it's really cool.
Go show it to the people.
Yes,
go.
go
Oh,
show.
that is so cool.
That looks incredible.
It looks great.
That is really cool. That is.
That goes straight in the case.
Yeah.
Straight into the case. Well, yeah. Yeah, maybe. See, I want to build you a bridge now. Wouldn't be hard.
Get a light here on this situation.
I don't know if they're.
Yeah, you're gonna have to here.
Oh, no, I got it.
Yeah, there you go. Even has the bandage on the hand.
That is super.
He's got the
cool.
Shiva stones in his bag.
That's
very cool.
Oh, awesome.
What do you say, Michael? What is it you always say? Fans what?
The fans are doing the best work.
Fans are doing the best work.
And that's true for movie editing as well.
See, that's the thing. If Hasbro wanted to make a fortune, they should re-release, the Indiana Jones vintage line, as a retro collection.
Micah says, "Does it have the flu?"
That would have been the first one, though, wouldn't it? Or did he have the flu?
That was the first one.
Yeah, that was the first one. But it's still funny.
Cholera. Dude, thank you so much. This is awesome. I'm gonna put this one right in the case and get a photo on Instagram right away.
They need to make just a Harrison Ford set of action figures in every role he ever played.
Just to dispel, in every movie.
Just every movie.
Just dispel Aaron's myth that Harrison Ford wasn't in that movie, and just put him in every movie. Like Harrison Ford in Alien. Gen X Toys Geek Jody says Michael confiscated Melinda's walk-in closet for all the Kylie shirts. Just kidding.
Actually,
the shirts were mine.
Not completely.
We just keep separate closets. It makes for a happier life.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I'm just gonna say it's amazing.
What? We keep separate everything.
No, I'm talking about his closet though.
Yeah, it is impressive.
All his Mal stuff and all the Luke stuff and Han stuff.
You're talking about the costumes.
Well, but he's got all of it together and it's amazing.
My costumes are everyday wearable because I don't just have costumes. I find gear, quality, durability.
They're not non-durable goods.
They're not non-durable goods. No.
Jason Anderson says easier answer. How many non-Kylie shirts does Michael own?
I have quite a few.
4.
You'll notice that in most of the feature videos that we do on the channel, I only really wear Kylie shirts on the live
He has
streams.
a lot of clothes, and a lot of them probably need to go away and find another home. But,
we'll work on it. It's a process.
you have a finite drawer, and yet you keep acquiring more Kylie shirts.
Scott's trying to get me to try it. He's like, "No, it's really not that bad."
Come on, let's do it, Tim. Here we go. Right at the end. I'm gonna do it.
Scott, I don't even have a drink down here.
Yeah, you're screwed.
Woo, they look spicy.
Oh my god.
I can feel it.
Okay, I'll try one. I'll try one. Holy crap.
You're a fool.
They're very good.
Hey.
Oh my god. They are spicy though. I would not want the spice. Look at your face. He's like,
They are very good.
they're
Are they
really
super-
good.
Are they super spicy?
Mm,
There's a little heat on them in the end.
You're like in the end. Oh, now I'm on fire.
Actually, no, they're not that bad. Try one.
I would no, don't.
Oh, is he not? He can't
Mm-mm.
eat spicy. Just break off a piece of them. He did it.
The flavor is amazing.
Yes, the flavor is amazing. They're actually not that bad.
They're not. They're perfect for me. This level, Scott, is exactly where I want to be.
Yeah, it's the end. That's all the problem is the end. They're not that bad. Oh,
Milk. We need milk.
These are amazing. Thank you, Scott.
What were the other ones?
Oh, there's Hell Crunch. Would you like some Hell Crunch, Michael?
Oh.
How about some
Wash down
How about some
Doritos.
Inferno cookies?
No. Oh, the back of my throat burns.
You might need to see a doctor if it burns, Michael. I mean, just saying.
I gotta get myself something.
I'm gonna finish off the rest
Are we
of this
finishing?
bag.
Do you want us to finish without you?
We're going to continue this conversation along with several other fun topics on our after show. If you'd like to join us, like Tim always likes to say, it's $1 per month.
And you get 4 shows.
And you get 4 free shows. So
yeah.
For those of you who will be joining us, we will see you shortly, probably about 20 minutes, because I got to go feed my cats and eat the rest of these Doritos. Have a great day, everybody.